The Grind, a Minnesota sports podcast.
It's been 12,306 days since the Minnesota Twins won their World Series. Sure, the Lynx have won titles, multiple titles with great Maya Moore, but among the four major sports teams, Wild, Timberwolves, Vikings, Twins, the Minnesota sports scene right now is the longest sports scene, with four major professional sports teams without a championship. 12,306 days and counting. That's why this podcast is called The Grind, a Minnesota sports podcast, because it's a grind being a player, an owner, a manager, and it's also a grind being a Minnesota sports fan. It's The Grind, a Minnesota sports podcast. While you're here, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and follow button if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. Rate, review the show. Hit the like button on the YouTube page. That would be great if you're willing to do that. All right, topics today. A Kevin Garnett reunion with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Byron Buxton gets rewarded. A small, exciting thing in a season that appears to be going down the dumps. All of that and more on today's show. But first, I need to tell you about 5-Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis, because they transformed our entire bathroom in 48 hours. New floor, new tub, new surround. We had mold in that surround too. We didn't have to hire someone else to come in and fix it. They did it themselves. A new sink, a new vanity, mirror, countertops. Our favorite bathroom feature, we went from 1 sink to 2 sinks. If you're watching on YouTube, there's before and after pictures for you to follow along with. We got our bathroom masterpiece, and it added value to our home in 48 hours. The two places you add value to your home, your kitchen and your bathroom. Our bathroom did nothing for us. And we invested in our bathroom, and we got it back in 48 hours. Absolutely incredible. Free consultations available and affordable payment plans. 5-Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis. Contact them today and get your bathroom masterpiece in 48 hours. All right, Kevin Garnett. He returned to the Timberwolves late in his career, and not really entirely sure what happened among him and Glen Taylor. He hated Glen Taylor before he left the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they already had a lot of friction in that relationship. And to be totally 100% honest, I view Kevin Garnett as one of my favorite players to ever play in the NBA. But because I'm objective, I look at the situation much differently. Everyone immediately joins the side of Kevin Garnett because he was the heart of the Timberwolves organization for 10 plus years and is a top 2 player in Timberwolves history, because I think it's already an argument between him and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has not yet been named an MVP, but has already reached a point in the playoffs that has gone past Kevin Garnett, because he's reached the Western Conference Finals twice, 2 seasons in a row. Kevin Garnett never made it past the first round except for once in 2003, 2004, when they made the Western Conference Finals and Sam Cassell injured himself doing the big balls dance. But here's why I look at it differently. Sure, were there promises that weren't kept, and maybe the promises fell apart after the passing of Flip Saunders, because there's no doubt Kevin Garnett came back to the Minnesota Timberwolves because Flip Saunders was the decision maker and head coach at that point. And the general consensus was that Garnett and Flip Saunders were going to come together and claim an ownership and a management piece of the Timberwolves. Well, then Flip passes because of Hodgkin's lymphoma, and the deal, the handshake agreement, falls apart. That's the general consensus, general assumption, not really fact-based, but general assumption-based. And now Garnett hates Glen Taylor's guts and has had no part of the Timberwolves organization since he retired. No jersey retirement ceremony, no appearances at Target Center during the Western Conference Finals these past 2 years because he's so bitter and frustrated with Glen Taylor. But Darren Wolfson on Score North says, Alex Rodriguez realizes the importance of repairing that relationship behind the scenes. There's already been work done. So Alex Rodriguez, Mark Lowry step in, and Glen Taylor's out. So the door is now open for Kevin Garnett to re-emerge as a presence within the Timberwolves organization. Talking statue eventually, talking jersey retirement ceremony, talking maybe even a managerial coach, mentor presence on the Timberwolves. But here's why I view things differently. Garnett, one, holds the biggest grudges in the history of sports. The dude hates Ray Allen because he went from Boston to Miami. The dude hates Glen Taylor because of a broken promise. But we also have to remember that Glen Taylor has done big favors for Kevin Garnett. Glen Taylor made Kevin Garnett the highest paid player in NBA history in 1997, when he gave Garnett a contract that averaged $20 million per year, a 5-year contract extension worth $100 million. ESPN's.com Mark Stein reports. This contract in and of itself helped the NBA, or led the NBA into a lockout. And that was because of Garnett's contract. It says here later that Garnett will make an NBA high $28 million this season, the final installment of the record 6-year, $126 million deal he signed in October 1st, 1997. Exactly 6 years ago. So this article was written in 2003. He signed a 5-year contract extension, which includes the year that he was already with the team, over $20 million per season. And then it says 6-year contract extension, $126 million. Garnett quotes, "I'm excited for the fans. I'm excited for the city. I'm excited." Glen Taylor is the one that had to write off on the final decision to say, I'm okay with you drafting a high schooler with the number 5 overall pick. I'm going to give Garnett this contract that averages $20 million per season and led the NBA into a lockout. I'm the guy that agreed to send Kevin Garnett to Boston so he could fulfill his NBA championship dreams. So, as much as people want to side with Garnett because they feel that Glen Taylor is a snobby rich prick, which I'm sure there's truth to that too, Glen Taylor is filled with mistakes as majority Timberwolves owner. The dude has mistake after mistake after mistake. But he also has done tremendous favors for Kevin Garnett. So, although it's a good thing that this relationship will eventually be repaired, and now that you got new owners, Garnett will eventually be back, and there will be a ceremony, and people will be loving it, and people will be so excited that Garnett's back. It's also important to remember that Glen Taylor has done a large amount of favors for Kevin Garnett while he was a part of this organization as well. Byron Buxton, the Twins. It's not appearing that they are going to make the playoffs, although they're only a few games out of the wild card spot, 4 to 5 games, something like that. Their record as currently stands is 43 and 47. They've played exactly 90 games. 45 plus 45 is 90. Subtract 2, it's 43. Add 2, it's 47. 43 plus 47 is 90. They're 13 and a half games out of first place. Detroit has conquered this division, and it appears will dominate this division for the years going forward. So the wild card is the only chance the Twins have. And they did pull off some magic against the Rays by having a few walk-offs. A walk-off bunt, a walk-off home run, and they almost pulled off the sweep, but then lost in 10 innings on Sunday, 7-5. And the Rays are good. They're 49 and 41, despite not having their stadium and who knows where they're playing. But Byron Buxton gets rewarded with a chance to play in the 2025 All-Star game. He was voted in or allowed in by whoever votes for those things. And this really has been Byron Buxton's best season as a Twin. He played 140 games back in 2017. He played 102 games in 2024. Those are the only times in his 11-year career that he's played over 100 games. This season, he's played 72 of 90 games, which means he's on pace to get over that 100-plus game mark. And his talent never really has been questioned. But the amount of times he has been injured, running into the wall, diving, sprinting, jumping, flailing, sliding, he has never been consistently available. And that's been his biggest problem with the Twins. He has speed. He has power. If he could just put all of these things together and stay healthy for an entire season, then Buxton will perform at a level that showcases his talent and puts him into the All-Star game, because he's on pace to hit a career high in home runs in a season and RBIs in a season. And we're only 72 games into the season. So hopefully, well, he's played 72 games. We're 90 games into the season. Hopefully, Buxton can remain healthy and continue this trajectory that he's been on this season, because it takes one injury for him to be out 2 to 3 months. Now, the question that will be answered soon, and it really is up to Buxton, because his name is being thrown around in MLB trade deadline talk, because his on-field production has been sensational, and teams that are in the playoff hunt or are guaranteed to make the playoffs, basically, practically, are interested in his services. His name has been thrown around, but he does have a no trade clause in his contract. So Buxton determines where he wants to play. He is 31 years old. He is under contract for 3 more years. And his name has generated buzz. Will Buxton prevent possible trades from going down because he loves playing for the Minnesota Twins? My question would be why? Why do you love playing for the Minnesota Twins? Or maybe he just loves the state of Minnesota. Again, my question would be why? Well, he has a family, he's got a wife, he's got some kids. Maybe they are so stable and they just love this area. That plays a factor. Or maybe Buxton will realize that this could be his last opportunity to pursue a World Series title. And getting traded to a contending team allows him this opportunity to do so. He's 31 years old, 3 years left on his contract. Teams are still interested in that, especially with the numbers and the health that he's showcased this season. But you go another year or two, and you think, well, maybe next year I'll get traded and land on a contending team like the Phillies, Yankees, or Dodgers. But if you are injured again, or your numbers aren't worth a trade, teams might not give you a second look. So this really could be Buxton's last opportunity to get traded to a contending team because of his health problems in the past, if those pop up again. And who knows when his numbers will start to decline as he ages. But he did get selected to go to the All-Star game for the second time in his career in a season that's been filled with so many downs and several ups, including a 13-game win streak. It's cool to see a guy like Byron Buxton get rewarded because the All-Star game is in Georgia where he grew up, so he's going back home for the All-Star game. He's going to play in Atlanta for the All-Star game. So good for him. A couple of Twins, Joe Ryan, and there's another one that got snubbed that did not get a bid for the All-Star game. But with the Twins having a record of 4 games under 500, it's hard to get all of the players that you think are deserving in the All-Star game. The question now becomes, will Byron Buxton accept a trade to a different organization and take a chance at making a run for the World Series? Or maybe their family is stable and he just wants to remain a Twin. That's cool too. We love it in Minnesota. Minnesota's cool. So that's the pod for the day. Thank you for joining. Remember, 5-Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis for all of your bathroom needs. Add value to your house in just 48 hours. Free consultations, affordable payment plans. 5-Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis. Thank you for joining. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.